there's such a high energy of the new dimensional forces of infrasound in that space, that crop circles are almost like an example of how these hotspots will be for miles around in the future. Yeah. And in the crop circles right now, when you go in, for example, some people, they notice their cell phones draining the batteries out immediately, or they don't work, and then immediately they'll walk outside the circle and they do work. And the same thing, Geiger counters give readings like this. All these energies have been recorded by people who are fascinated by the experience, but more so, they, within themselves emotionally, if someone's frustrated or angry, they can literally make themselves nauseous by, or if they've got a chemical imbalance in their body that's causing emotional imbalances, that will manifest more clearly in the crop circle. And I think that is due to the fact that there's more energy there, and it's literally lowering the permeability of the body, so that any chemicals in the body are able to penetrate more deeply, and there's more communication and more movement going on within the body because of all that energy. So, for example, one of the things that we haven't addressed yet that I think is really important to talk about before we finish up in terms of the energized water and the crystallization water concept has to do with the water found in La Mana, Ecuador. The site that we had mentioned has the UV fluorescent artifacts. That water has been extensively studied for its intense energies, as well as the crystallization has been photographed through polarized light and the same techniques used by Masaru Emoto. And those photographs are remarkable, and I published them on my website and in my book, Phi. They present a full spectral array where all the colors of light, like in a prism, are divided spectrally, as well as really beautiful crystallization, just remarkable energies. And all measurements, when compared with other waters, have been in millions of times, not just thousands, but millions of times greater than most water, city water or anything like that. And this site in La Mana literally has the effect of transmuting the human body into a vehicle for higher energies to move through. And I believe that that's what's happened in the case of people like Daniel Tammet as well, environmentally. And their own thoughts and emotions directly affects the quality of the water and the crystallization of the water in their body, which allows higher energy states to be achieved. So there's certainly a question as to what you're putting in your body physically with the water you're drinking, but as well what you're putting in your body energetically with the feelings that you're engendering inside and the environment and the emotions that you're sharing with others.
Yes. And this water also that you talk about, didn't they contain a certain amount of gold and silver particles as well?
Exactly. That's one of the fascinating findings, is that there are trace amounts of nanoparticles of gold and silver. And on the water page on my website, I go into detail about how that exact particle size found in those waters, which is from 2 to 10 nanometers in size, those particle size were the exact size defined by researchers studying the efficacy of silver nanoparticles against viruses. So that particle size specifically has the right size to bond with the sulfur-bearing nodes on viruses which attack cells. So, for example, HIV, I've got photos on my website, dark field images actually, of HIV with being attacked by silver of that particle size of 2 to 10 nanometers, which effectively kill it. And they do that by two processes, not only by conducting electricity through the nanoparticles, which strip the enzyme coatings of the virus, but also they stick to the sulfur that the virus is used to attach to host cells, and the sulfur-binding protein in the the silver itself binds and blocks the protein knobs from having
connecting with our body. Yeah,
exactly, from having their effect. So they are starved essentially by the silver and killed electrically as well.
Well, that's interesting, because I know a while back there was talk about that too. They talked about cancer growths and things like that they could starve them of nutrition, but the problem was that as soon they did that and one died off, a new one went up. It's a bit of a complex problem, but I guess what you're saying here as well is that this is potentially obviously a cure for these things. And this water as well that you mentioned, this was found then naturally, right? It's a spring water in this region of La Mana in Ecuador, right?
It is coming out of the mountain, but I would hesitate to use the word natural, because my research shows that the distance and the location of this site in La Mana, as well as a site called Tlacote in Mexico, which is the only other site on Earth that I've been able to discover thus far where gold water flows on the surface. Gold nanoparticles are contained in the waters. Those two sites are mathematically showing the Fibonacci ratio with the pyramid exactly. So I would say, at a distance of 30% and 30.9% of the Earth's circumference. So I would say that the exact geoposition and the fact that the artifacts themselves describe the geoposition, and through the UV luminescence effect, describe how that water can be used to produce blacklight by HHO plasma. That's another concept we need to get into altogether, more complicated than the average person really has a grasp of right now. But water itself and the high energy states of water have been rediscovered by a company called blacklightpower.com. Dr. Randall Mills has been able to really concisely define what's happening in the high energy states of water. And that's really important information, I think, for everyone to understand as we think about these ideas of 2012 and the new energies coming onto the planet, and as well the effect of the energization or the activation of the energies in the pyramids. And I think maybe that would be a great time for a quote from the Mayans, who directly talk about the purpose of the pyramids and what activation their ceremonies and in their initiations are affecting in the people who enjoy them.
Do you have that quote there?
Yeah, I'll pull it up right here. It's on my site at humanresonance.org/activation.html. And this is written by Hunbat's Men, who's an Itza Mayan elder from the Itza tradition. And, he gives us a very profound, invitation really to experience, in the body the things that I understand intellectually at this point, but I'm really looking forward to understanding physically in the pyramids myself. Okay. Through this initiation, they will be able to see the luminosity of the Great Spirit. When this spiritual initiation is completed in the house of Hunab-Ku in heaven, the spirit of each initiate will be illumined. Then it will return to earth to awaken the body and take it to the pyramids. Chichen Itza, Uxmal, Kaaba, Etzna, Palenque, all of these sacred Mayan centers have a specific function in every part of the body to awaken the 7 powers contained in it. Only through the solar initiation can the sleeping body of mankind be awakened. The reincarnated teachers of the new age of Aquarius implore for the sacred human race to awaken, so that in this way it can fulfill its sacred destiny, which is to be the true sons and daughters of the cosmic light. The time of knowledge approaches. The light in the center of the pyramidal house of Hunab-Ku will flash like lightning that will pierce through the shadows that envelop the human race. Let us prepare to receive the light of knowledge that comes from Hunab-Ku and transcend into the memory of the Creator and become beings of eternal luminosity.
I'm actually reminded of I stumbled over a video here not too long ago. It was an analysis of a photograph taken at one of the pyramids. I think it was at Kukulkan or something like that, where allegedly there was a beam of light coming straight up from the pyramid. Don't know if you saw that, Alex.
I'm not sure. I remember one that Hunbats may have been presenting that had a line of what they were interpreting as hieroglyphic text, but I'm not too sure if that's the same one.
All right, well, we'll link that up in terms of that little light phenomena that was seen over the pyramid. That's really interesting. And is there anything else you can say about that quote you read from the Hunbats Men there?